Okay, welcome to the Bible Professor Podcast. I'm the Reverend Dr. Mel Winstead. I'm excited to have Josh Bovey on with us today. Thank you, Josh, for coming on to the program.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Winstead. I'm happy to be here. Happy to help out and just talk about apologetics, talk about life, talk about ministry with you today.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just allowing the world to listen in on our conversation, really, and just encourage folks toward Christianity, toward that it's a faith worth defending. And, what are we doing with the young folks, trying to help and encourage them? First of all, Josh, tell me who you are and your family, your location, if you like.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Josh Bovey. I'm about 27 years old, and I am a youth pastor in Fuquay, North Carolina. I've been married for November will be 2 years. Doesn't feel like 2 years, but it's certainly gone by quickly. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, um, right at Cape Fear Valley, and I was actually born with, if you guys can kind of see, I was born with a syndrome called Vactural syndrome, which gave me the limb anomaly amongst many other different things. But I don't call it a disability. I call it a gift. And my dad, thankfully, he served 23 years in the military, which allowed for the ability to have such great health care and for me to get all the surgeries that were needed for me to quite literally live. I've got two younger siblings. I've got a brother who is a worship leader in Lake Wiley, South Carolina, and a sister who works in the medical field as well. And my wife, she is our administrative assistant here at the church, as well as our Awana director. And our life pretty much is the church. Being a pastor. I'm not ordained yet, but being in that ministry, our life is the church.
Yeah, I understand that. As you know, I'm a pastor, and Josh, you and I had talked when you were up at Southern Evangelical Seminary a few months ago. We talked, or maybe that was last year. We talked about the Awana program, and how well that was working for my small rural church. Just how very well it's working. Y'all started Awanas. How's it going so far?
We had our first meeting on Sunday, and we got probably about 80% of the kids there. And I mean, I had a ball. Okay. I'm the game director. So I had a great time for 25 minutes with our Sparkies and TNT. And I think all the kids had a great time. I think it's a breath of fresh air for the children's ministry having the Awana program at church. So First night went well. We have some notes to take down on things we can improve on, but I mean that's any ministry, honestly.
Yeah, that's right. Did you and the Awana leaders go to one of the Awana trainings that they offer?
No, we have not, but we do have all of the videos for training. So a lot of our Awana leaders did watch the videos, and we've got all of the books.
All right.
And so we've done I guess you'd say more of the impersonal training.
Yeah. That ministry is going to grow. So y'all better stay at it and get ready to work. It's a great ministry. It teaches kids scripture, right? And the very name, the acronym AWANA, approved workmen are not ashamed, is straight out of 210, 215. So Josh, you are you are a youth pastor then, is that correct? So what all do you preach? Do you ever get to preach from the pulpit per se? And what are you teaching the kids and the youth when you are with them on a weekly basis?
Oh, absolutely. So yes, I am the youth pastor. I think my official title is associate pastor, which means I do everything. Not everything, that's too much to say, but I do quite a bit for the church, except for preaching on Sunday mornings every week. But I do quite a bit. I wouldn't say on occasion, but quite a bit. I do preach on Sunday mornings. So 2 Sundays ago, I gave a message on apologetics. I literally gave a message on 1 Peter 3:15, and I used what Dr. Geisler gave for reasons to be a participant in apologetics as a Christ follower, and I got it out of the big book of apologetics. And so I gave 3 reasons. God commands it. Oh boy, what's the next one? Reason demands it, and the world needs it. So I gave a message on that 2 Sundays ago, and this year, beginning 2 Wednesdays ago. So, well, the beginning of September is our new year for the youth ministry. So I try to go in 3 different categories and kind of cycle them through with the students. So 1 year we're doing discipleship, 1 year we're doing evangelism, and 1 year we're doing apologetics. So this year is the year for apologetics. Last year we did discipleship. This year is apologetics. So my goal, and I've written it all out from month 1 all the way through till next August, we're going to go through Norm Geisler's 12 points that prove Christianity to be true. And so we began last Wednesday on what is truth and giving a definition of what truth is as it corresponds to reality. And then, what does the world say about truth and subjectivism and pragmatism, which I know, even being a pastor, and I know that churches, we can get into that pragmatism, but that's what we started with. And we're going to be going through, actually, I think tomorrow, well, this coming Wednesday, we will be beginning with what is man, and maybe expand that for a full month, because that's a big one, I think, for students at this age and in this generation. All right.
Okay. So you're going to teach young teenagers the 12 points of Christianity. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I'm excited for it, because I think that even though we begin in 6th grade at our church and go to 12th grade, but I mean, I believe and I think that it's our duty to give even a 6th grader the ability and the opportunity to learn such things as what is truth. Yes, it seems philosophical, and it is, but if I can put it in a way, and I think that I have been able to do that, put it in a way where a 6th grader can understand it, but also high enough to where a 12th grader can grasp it and as well as use it in an apologetic for the Christian faith.
Well, interestingly, what I was getting at is asking you to repeat the fact that you're going to teach young teenagers the 12 points of Christianity, 12 points show Christianity is true, because it begins with, just reality. Truth about reality is knowable. The opposite of true is false, all these things. So you are evidently of the mindset that I am, that young people can understand and reason a lot better than we give them credit for, than we think they can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I remember, I don't know who said it. It may have even been you, but that, the middle schoolers and even high schoolers that we have, when they go to school, they're being taught, evolution. They're being taught such things as trigonometry and different things like that. But when they come to church, it seems like things can be watered down. So why not bring the lessons to a certain maturity level to where it matches what they're being taught in school, if not
absolutely more. So that's actually another related issue is, look, the schools are teaching whatever subject hardcore. I mean, they want the students to get it. They're even going to assess them on it. Isn't the gospel and the truths of Christianity as important as that stuff, if not more so? And if so, then why are we not also
absolutely,
teaching the Bible and the truths of Christianity hardcore as well, and maybe even assessing them? Why not?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I will say that I'm going to try and do at the beginning of every student ministry is give them a piece of paper, and we started this last week, asking them, why do you believe in what you believe? So we begin the first the very first Wednesday, and I'm going to assess each week, as we were going through the 12 points. And when we finally get to the end, see kind of how they have gradually over the course of the year, I guess we could say matured in their walk with Christ in a way,
Okay.
and how their answers have varied and changed hopefully over the course of the year.
I like it, man. Yeah, that's good stuff, Josh. You're training. You're a student. You're a seminary student. What degree are you working on?
So I am working on a Master's of Divinity in apologetics. I got my 2 undergrads at Carolina College of Biblical Studies, and I'm now at Southern Evangelical Seminary getting that MDiv. When I was getting my undergrad, I got one in Biblical Studies and one in apologetics. And apologetics, to me, I don't like using this. I don't like using the words I feel, but I feel like the Lord kind of pushed me in the direction of apologetics with meeting a now former professor, but friend of mine that graduated from SES, Dr. McCuddy. He was really the big inspiration of me wanting to go to Southern Evangelical Seminary, as well as learn as much as I can from the apologetic realm. And, the sky's the limit, I guess.
That's right.
From that subject.
Exactly. So another big question I have for you is, and it's going to cross lines into apologetics, I'm sure, but what are the big issues your youth are dealing with, in your area? I know you live here in North Carolina, east or northeast of me, a couple hours, but what issues are your teenagers dealing with and in your area that you're familiar with?
Before I tell you kind of what they're dealing with, this is going to be kind of like a 2 answers here. I sat down with a couple of our students this past week and the week before, and just kind of talked to them like, what's school like? What's going on there? And one of my female students that's in 10th grade now, she told me how school is very political, and even in the very rural area that we live in, that school can be very political. The other classmates can be very political if they know that you are a Christ follower, and like they'll hammer you on abortion and things like that if they know that you're pro-life. And that is one of the biggest things that I have heard, is that abortion is a huge topic in public school. Sorry, parents, but
wow.
All of the stuff that you think that your kids are not learning, that are political, it's there. It is in the school system.
Yep.
The culture is in the school system, and it is thriving, not dying, but it is thriving. And one of my students was telling me this. She was saying, this was back in 6th grade that I was having these debates about being pro-life and being against abortion and stuff, and having to actually defend the Christian worldview in 6th grade on subjects like that. So that's one of the big things that our students are dealing with, as well as identity is another one.
Okay.
In school. And
wow.
When I say identity, I mean students as well. Yeah, students not in my youth group, but students in public school are dealing with where their identity is rooted in, whether it be in their sexuality or whether it be in how they feel when it comes to whether being an animal or an actual human being. So what I'm trying to say is that some of the people that our students are exposed to in public school, they quite literally are walking around school with cat ears on and a cat tail, saying to the teachers, I would prefer that you call me by my pronouns like cat and cat s, and things like that. So it's not only just this abortion issue, but also this identity in sexuality or an animal. and it's all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
and where we are living at, where I live, it's not a liberal area. It's
Wow.
very conservative. So you're going, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
People don't understand the slippery slope that all of this stuff presents. And we're talking, what, 14-year-olds, right? And younger, probably.
Yeah, yeah. 11 to 18-year-olds. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Off the rails on a crazy train, man. Wow. Um,
yeah, yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
yeah. So, what are your hopes for your youth group and beyond? You young people in your area.
Well, first and foremost for the youth group, it excuse me, is to make sure that they know that this church that I'm associate and an associate pastor of and youth pastor at, that they understand that we're a family, that they have any issues, that they have any concerns, anything that they can come to myself, my wife, who's also a leader in the youth ministry, and our other leaders, that they can come to us and that we are all a family. So that's first and foremost, is that we have that family camaraderie because, I mean, Christians, we are brothers and sisters in Christ. And the second one is, well, three. Second one is that they do strengthen their walk in Christ individually. And the way that we do that is teaching them discipleship, as well as teaching them how to give a hope, give a defense for the hope that is within them, give a reason for the hope that is in them. And so I think we are really doing a good job of trying to mesh all of this together. And I mean, I've already had stories of some of my students having to, at lunch, um, not debate, but, kind of feeling the Lord kind of pushing them towards like, hey, talk to your friend who is thinking that they're a lesbian or thinking that they're leaning that
Hmm.
way. And
Yeah.
do the Socratic method, ask them questions. And I know that one student in particular that I'm talking about, he he got called to the principal's office because that person that he was trying to evangelize to essentially completely yelled at him, yelled in his face, and a bunch of other things. So it is tough to be in middle school or high school right now. It's a
Yeah.
lot tougher than when I was there 10 years ago.
Yes, indeed. And parents need to understand, man, the public school systems right now in the States are horrible, 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 especially in our areas. And it's just nothing like when you went to school. I don't care if you were in high school 5 years ago. It's just exponentially increased the insanity, the ungodliness, the pressure by the culture to conform. And man, so how do you feel like apologetics is going to help you equip these kids?
Well, I'm hoping, I'm hoping that just the way that I give a presentation or give a sermon, and I try to make it funny in a way so that and relatable as well. And when it comes to apologetics, just beginning with what is truth and asking them all of these questions that honestly I know that they can answer. And I want to, through apologetics, and I know it's going to be a lot of work. And I tell the students all the time, I say, I don't have all the answers,
Right,
but if
right.
you have a question, come and ask me, and I will figure it out.
Okay.
Hopefully within the next week. But what I hope to accomplish is to make sure that when these kids do go to school, that they are truly filled with the hope that's within them, that they feel confident in Christ and feel confident in, okay, if someone does want to ask me a question, I can, in love and respect, give an answer to
Okay.
a student at school.
That's good, Josh. So you've given two things there. I like that. That's really good. So, I mean, you've given a great definition, and understanding what apologetics is to begin with is going to help you to, here's how I can apply it. They kind of work in tandem. So, Apologetics is giving a reason to their friends who are going to ask them a reason for why they think Christianity is right. And they need to have answers. So having answers is a lot of what apologetics is about. But the first answer you gave just now actually is you as the youth leader, as a leader, as an authority in their life, it's the issue of having a relationship with them, helping them to understand, hey, you are someone they can come to in confidence, and they know that you care about them, number one. You know, the old adage, people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. And I think that applies.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that applies, especially with the young folks and dealing with apologetics. I mean, 1 Peter 3:15, you are to give reasons for the hope that is within you, but do that with meekness and fear, or gentleness and reverence. Let me put you on the spot for one of these apologetic questions. If Josh Bovey was talking to the teenager, in the mall, he or she has cat ears on, a cat tail. They're carrying around a litter box with them. That I've heard of that actually in the schools here in North Carolina. The litter box thing, and they come up to you and say, hey, you're so-and-so's youth pastor. Tell me what's wrong with me identifying as a cat. What's wrong with that, Mr. Josh? What's Josh's answer?
Well, my answer would not be point blank telling them anything. First of all, I wouldn't want to show all my cards to begin with.
Okay.
But to reverse it and ask them, why do you think you're a cat? Why do you think you are an animal? What characteristics about you make you an animal instead of a human being? And from there,
that's a good question.
As Norm Geisler, as even David Geisler talks about, building that bridge to the gospel, building that bridge to the cross. Ask the questions, because like you already said, the relationships, even within churches, allow for them to hear you better. And I think the same thing is true even with non-believers. Is you start asking questions about a individual like that, like, why do you believe that you are an animal? Why do you believe that you're a cat? Can you explain to me the characteristics of what a cat is?
Yeah.
Can you explain to me Can you explain to me what the characteristics of a human is?
Yeah.
Why are you able to talk, and why are you not able to understand a cat?
Yeah,
Simple,
that's great, because you're
like that.
And absolutely. So your specific answer there then about the characteristics, about what you can and can't do, actually covers not only outside, well, you had to put the ears on, you weren't born with them, but also the inside, why you don't think and why you can't communicate with the cat. So that's great answer. And also, again, what you said at the outset there, Josh, is just building a bridge, asking questions. Those two things are very important, and not just lambasting somebody, but helping them to see the truth, that the truth about reality is knowable. The opposite of true is false, and the theistic God exists, and on it goes. And you can actually apply each of those steps as you go along in your conversation.
Yep, exactly. And I think you definitely nailed it right there.
Yeah. Good. Man, I think, this has been fruitful. Josh, man, I'd hire you as a youth pastor at my church or any church for sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, you are doing what you see, what is needed, and you're doing what's needed to answer the call and to equip young people, because, ideologically and so forth, they're getting slaughtered, in the high schools and the colleges, even worse, and they're losing their faith. They're getting, deconstructed. And it is because nobody took the time when they were 10, 11, and 12 years old to explain truth to them. They just gave them stories to hold on to. And those stories are very important, and they're true enough to be sure. But how do we apply this? How do we understand this at a foundational level? apologetics
Absolutely.
then is extremely important. I'm glad to see you're doing that, brother. Thank you for your good work for the Lord.
Thank you.
Yeah. Josh, any final thoughts or concerns or anything you'd like to share?
I mean, you said one thing that really kind of struck me, talking about how at least previously in the church, in the American church, we'll say, not the global church, but the American church, that, we have not been doing a good job of teaching apologetics. And when I gave the sermon about Christian apologetics and giving a hope, I when I was talking about reason demands it, I went right to what doubt means, and that doubt does not mean disbelief, and that a Christian can have doubts. It's just, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to just kind of let it
Yes.
fester and then become a trail towards disbelief, or are you going to actually do your research and make it strengthen your faith in Christ, more?
Yeah.
And so I point blank told the congregation that, it's okay to doubt. Just what are you going to do with that doubt? And I think a lot of students, a lot of people that are going through deconstruction, they've had a lot of doubts, or, church hurt, whatnot, but those doubts were never addressed correctly by a church leader. Therefore, those
Right.
doubts went towards disbelief instead of a stronger faith.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. And this problem is everywhere, man. It just really is everywhere.
Right.
Josh, what are your long-term ministry goals? The big plan, or is this you're heading into what your plan is? Go ahead.
Yeah, big plan. Overall, big plan is to get done with my MDiv. Hopefully, if the Lord willing, get a PhD. I would love to be a professor at a seminary one day. And I really enjoy seeing what Frank Turek is doing, and I would love to, with the catalyst of the podcast that I'm doing called Disabling Apologetics, allow that to hopefully grow, and then be a speaker for Christian apologetics one day. And I don't want to do debates and stuff like that. Those are nice, but I think those kind of show a bit of a rougher edge of apologists, and people think that apologetics is firmly rooted in arguments only.
Right.
But giving an apologetic presentation in a way that is palatable, I think.
Okay. Yeah, my final thing, I was going to ask about your podcast, and I'll have a link to it in the description below. But tell us again the name of your podcast and what you're intending to do with that.
Yes, sir. It's called Disabling Apologetics. It's essentially me talking about being disabled, what I would say is a gift from God, and having the aspirations of one day being an apologist. And my big thing is using what the Lord has given you, and being able to not only use, yes, your experience and what brought you to Christ, but also the knowledge that you ought to internalize to help bring others to Christ as well. So,
okay,
that's my spiel. That's my endeavors.
And you'll be interviewing other folks with disabilities and so forth. Is that right? Or
absolutely, yes. I just interviewed a gentleman that's about to graduate from Southern Evangelical Seminary, David Probus, who is in a wheelchair, and him and I mean, we had a great time talking, like a solid hour. We could have kept going, but he had to get home, unfortunately.
Yeah. And my audience won't know this till I tell them now, but you and I recorded this a few weeks ago. It was going to be my maiden voyage episode. It didn't get going, so you and I were going to start the same day, but you beat me out of the gate with the podcast, so congratulations to you. And that's called...
honestly, I'm only doing audio, so it's a little bit easier.
And where is Disabling Apologetics to be found?
It is on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. It's on Google. It's on pretty much every major platform for audio podcasts.
All right. Okay, Josh, do you have any more closing thoughts, my brother?
Honestly, I don't right now. You close us, brother. You close us.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you, Josh, a whole lot. I appreciate you joining us today. This has been fruitful. I'm sure it'll help other folks out there, other students, other youth pastors, parents, hopefully especially. So thanks for coming on the show today, Josh.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We are the Bible Professor. Be blessed. Bye-bye.